Today I want to review No Salvation for Witches by Raphael Chandler. Now, the basic premise of this module is that a group of witches led by this lady, she's gathered a group of henchmen, and they're doing a ritual, which is create a dome, which you can go in, but you can't go out of. So there's several spheres, and then there's a smaller sphere in the middle here, where they're doing the ritual. Now here's one of the locations. It's down there. Yeah, so I can give some backstory. Aurelia Walcott is the person on the cover there, and she has contacted this being who she believes is the Muse Terpsichore, the Muse of Dancing. And here's her coven of witches. Now, one of them is a cleric, the rest are non-spellcasters, but they call themselves the Bishops of the Synod. And the leader is a magic user. And all of them dress in ways, back then, this takes place in the 1620s in Britain, and back then there were rules about what you could wear. You could only wear certain fabrics if you are a member of a particular class and gender, and so they all wear things that are not allowed for their class or gender, or in her case, she goes around without any clothes, just to break the laws about what you can wear. That gives some description of each one of them. A couple of them are fighters, a couple of them are specialists or thieves, one of them is a cleric. There's some spheres. There are 3 spheres located to equal distance away from the central sphere. And there's the big sphere that this adventure takes place in, and the smaller sphere, which cannot be entered easily. There's some unique monsters, really interesting ones. I give some locations, the woods. There are 2 different villages, plus a priory. Interesting monsters. And the villages have some unique monsters that are really scary. Just realized I've got a note I left in here. Trying to do this one-handed is not easy. There's another of the monsters. Yeah, so this priory is where, in that church, is where they're doing their ritual. It takes several days, so there's a limited amount of time. And there's events going on inside there if you can get in. It's hard to get into the sphere that contains the priory, but it is possible. And there's some unique monsters. These guys. And so, there's another of the monsters that is in here. In some cases, the humans are monsters. In one of the villages, this is going on. You could help it or you could stop that. And there is a book called the Triad of Tetralogy, which supposedly has trillions of spells in it. It's a random roll table about what kind of ritual you do and what the effects are. And there's one of the monsters in here. And another one. And there's some more map inside the priory there. So it's a pretty short module. I was able to do it in a couple of sessions. But it has long after the ritual's over, or if you stop the ritual, then yeah, you stop the ritual and you have a fight with this group of basically another party. But if the ritual gets completed, then you have a situation where she becomes the new Queen of England. And this is what happened in my campaign. It had long-reaching consequences because afterwards she was become a much more powerful magic user. She cloned both the king and the crown prince and set the clones loose in multiple locations throughout the British Isles. And they all began fighting each other. And it turned into a four-way fight for Britain, and each side brought in allies from Sweden and Spain and turned Britain into another front of the 30 Years' War. So it had long-reaching consequences for my campaign world. And actually, it turned out pretty awesome, and my players learned to really like the Witch Queen and her philosophy. It's because her philosophy was she wanted democracy. She only wanted to be queen because somebody had to depose the other kings. And as soon as a parliament voted her to abolish the monarchy, she jumped on that with both feet and let them do that. So anyway, that's No Salvation for Witches, a really interesting module by Raphael Chandler.